I mean, I blame conservatives for that. When you talk about freedom of speech, you're talking about the government. That's what freedom of speech means. But conservatives for a long time have played a dangerous game of, what about Section 230? Like, Twitter shouldn't be allowed to ban anybody and blah, blah, blah. And now they've gotten themselves in this world where, rightfully so, they should be allowed to fire or hire who they want. That's not a violation of freedom of speech, but your audience has been primed to think that any time you fire somebody or any time you do anything relating to speech, you're like violating a freedom of speech, which isn't true, but you've primed them to think that.
Destiny makes an idiot out of himself once again on the Boys Cast. This is one of the most ridiculous arguments that I've heard from Destiny in a long time. Destiny seems to be pro-war. Yeah, really ridiculous, and that's saying a lot. Let's see what Destiny has to say.
Worst girl ever, and then the next girl's just like, the first girl I see, he's just all in, you know, again.
Yeah, you definitely create conditions.
You leave an abusive boyfriend to another abusive boyfriend?
Yeah, you have to treat people like adults. You can't treat them like parents where you're just like, listen, you don't understand this right now, but you'll get it in the future. Because then, it's not like they turn 18 and now we can level with you and everything. People are too condescending sometimes, and they don't give enough space for, antagonistic thought to deal with it and then see it dealt with.
Yeah, kind of, exactly. What do you think about Candace Owens versus Daily Wire feud?
I don't even know what's going on with that.
Really?
I'm always primed to. Well,
I know you debated Candace Owens sort of or whatever. That's why I thought you were.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I followed it, but I don't think anybody knows what happened. Right? That hasn't been made public yet because Candace keeps hinting that she was fired for some insidious reason. I'm guessing related to Israel or Jews.
Yeah.
And Ben Shapiro challenged
Seems
her
like
to
it's
that
kind
debate.
of true.
Well, it depends on what you mean when you say that. Because it could, for instance, it could be the case that Ben Shapiro and Jeremy came to a decision that they were going to let Candace go because she's parroting anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, which I think is reasonable. Or it could be the case that they got marching orders from the Mossad to get rid of Candace Owens because she's asking too many questions, which would probably that'd be horrible if they did.
No, I think it would probably be more like, you could even just remove all of it. You're just like, hey, we have a company with 6 people and we all kind of think the same shit.
Sure.
And then one person's thinking, all the exact opposite shit on what my cardinal issue is. Let's get rid of her. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you built your thing being I'm this free speech guy. So it's just straight up a pickle that you're in.
A little bit. I blame conservatives for that. When you talk about freedom of speech, you're talking about the government. That's what freedom of speech means. But conservatives for a long time have played a dangerous game of, what about Section 230? Like, Twitter shouldn't be allowed to ban anybody and blah, blah, blah. And now they've gotten themselves in this world where, rightfully so, they should be allowed to fire or hire who they want. That's not a violation of freedom of speech, but your audience has been primed to think that any time you fire somebody or any time you do anything relating to speech, you're violating a freedom of speech, which isn't true, but you've primed them to think that. So
that is true. And they just wanted to basically talk shit about all the trans stuff forever, and that's why they're essentially citing the freedom of speech stuff. And
whether you agree or not with the whole Candace Owens Daily Wire thing, I will say it's different. Twitter and social media, they have these protections under the law where they're a platform, not a publisher. The Daily Wire is a publisher. So yeah, if they hired Candace Owens to go on there and, put out conservative views and conservative values. And by the way, it's not like she had to say everything that they agree with. There's other people that work there that say things that Jeremy and Ben Shapiro don't agree with, but they're still on there, but I don't know, maybe when it comes to the whole Palestine thing and the Jewish people and stuff, and that seems a little bit more close to home to Ben Shapiro. And so what are you going to do? But just wanted to point that out there, that social media, they're platforms that are protected by the law. You should be able to, obviously within the bounds of the law, you can't go on there and share CP or something like that, or if there's no adult content allowed on there, like adult videos or something, yeah, okay, then don't put that on there. Which is basic, just being able to say your opinion on there. You should be able to go on that platform and just say what your opinion is, no matter how stupid or dumb or controversial it is, because it's a platform. But they were abusing these protections they had under the law, and they were treating their platform like a publisher. And that's where also the conflict ensues. Daily Wire is not a platform, it's a publisher. Again, agree with that whole thing or not, that's just the fact of the matter. What are you guys' thoughts? Sound off in the comment section below. Let's get back to this.
Well, there was sort of, because well, you tell me, because you probably know about this stuff pretty well. It is true that when you say freedom of speech, you mean the government, but there was sort of a culture of, you can't say anything that wasn't just because of the government. That so I feel like when people are freedom of speech and let's say they were talking about comedy or jokes you should be able to make, or, what you should be able to say in a movie without getting in trouble. What is that then?
I mean, I think there is a principle, there is a concept of people should be allowed to say what they want in certain arenas, and you should have the freedom to do so. But just you need to separate that out from the legal part. I just think that's important, that they're two different concepts.
There's a legal
or
part.
They're similar concepts, but the enforcement mechanisms on both of these are different. One is like,
One last quick point. Also, the government was clearly trying to use these social media platforms to censor things. Like, they were kind of bypassing the First Amendment by using social media to totally just bypass the First Amendment. Because so that way, when social media would censor certain people, then people would be like, well, they're a private company, they could do whatever they want. And the government's like, yeah, you keep saying that, you useful idiot. You keep saying that. And there was evidence that they did that. Mark Zuckerberg came out and said the government asked them to remove certain stories and censor certain stories. So this is not a conspiracy theory. It's been confirmed. Elon Musk released the Twitter files where some of that stuff was going on. So yeah, the government was totally abusing the First Amendment via social media.
what should the law be? And the other is like, what should we push the culture to be? And I agree generally with the culture of freedom of speech, but it's not the law. You can't enforce that legislatively.
But they do have. So that's why I'm saying, like, when people, it's in a pickle a little bit. Like, you know, it's same with Elon Musk having Don Lemon on and then kicking him off. Like, even if you're right, you're allowed to do that. It just looks like you're going against your principles.
It looks bad, but I mean, the reality
And
is...
you are, though, right?
Well, I don't think so. Assuming, I don't know what they've all said
Don
in the
Lemon
past,
stuff
but-
bombed, but the problem is he didn't say, he goes, his interviews just do terrible numbers. Why would we pay him $10 million?
Well, that's not... He kicked him off before that interview.
Oh, yeah, right, that's true.
But I'm saying
Yeah,
that, like,
that is true.
but for that, like, Elon has a right to allow freedom of speech on social media platforms, and he should champion that, I would hope. But that doesn't mean he has to pay people to work for him who have ideologically different views and then to disseminate that ideologically different point of view, right? He doesn't have to hire him as like...
I know it is
contractor.
weird.
Yeah, I
but,
mean, like the New York Times or whatever, and or even NPR, we're talking about, like, this guy didn't even say anything that bad, and they're like, you're suspended.
Like, if it would be nice for me to start a media company in the future. I really want to. But when I do that, I'm not hiring, like, the most diverse point of views. It's going to be stuff that I generally agree with.
Right.
I feel very strongly about freedom of speech. I don't think that YouTube or Twitter or the government should, like, be restricting heavily freedom of speech without a really compelling reason, like child sex material or whatever, stuff like that. But when I go to hire people, I'm not going to pay a guy who's, like, an anarchist to talk about how evil, like, all government is and we should all go crops.
The question is, if you hire a guy that has similar views to you and then he starts leaning that way, at what point do you fire him? That's really the question.
It would depend on whatever the mission statement is of my company. When I feel like it's going in violation of that, I'd be like, this is not what we're here for. If you have a life-changing moment and you want to spend the rest of your days evangelizing everybody, that's not what I want on my platform. Like, go do that somewhere else.
Is that you have to be pro-Israel in the Daily Wire mission statement?
It might not be explicitly, but there's probably going to be some parts of, like, foreign policy that will encompass. That'd be my guess. Like, if you're pro, like, super American interventionism all over the world, and you're like, America needs to go to war with every single country or whatever, I imagine that's probably not part of the Daily Wire's mission statement.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to be a total isolationist and you're like, America should pull back embassies and bases from every country in the world, that's probably not part of the mission statement. So, yeah. But also, I think there are people that aren't 100% on board that Israel train on the Daily Wire. I think Candace Owens' issue isn't the Israel stuff. It's the weird Jew, Holocaust, anti-Semitic shit.
I think she's just too deep into the Jew shit.
Yeah, like when she was tweeting out a few weeks ago, like, who started porn?
Been famous last words for a lot of people.
Which one?
I just say it's been. I mean, there's two things that have gotten a lot of people. You start getting really deep into JQ. You start getting really deep into race IQ. Those are the two. How many content people of like that was? You know, remember? You go, what happened to that guy? You go, you could pinpoint the day that he started getting all in on that.
But I wish people too, like. I think if you genuinely want to explore those topics, I think it's fine to do so, and I think you might even be able to get away with it. The problem is just that they don't ever actually explore, right? Like, I'll run into people in debates, and the guy's like, I'm skeptical of the 6 million number. And it's like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? It's like, I don't know if I trust.
He says it's 10 million.
I don't know if I trust, like, all the stuff. Where it's, okay, well, like, what have you read on this? Okay, well, nothing. Okay, well, like, what have you, what have you researched on this? Like, why do you think, for instance, you don't believe the 6 million? How do they come up with that number? Well, I'm not sure, but doesn't it seem like a lot? It's like, well, maybe, or maybe it's not that much. How many Jews lived there before? Oh, I don't know. It's like, okay, so you're skeptical on a thing, and you've got a lot of questions, and you've been repeating these questions for like 6 months. Like, imagine I walk around New York City, and I'm like, Ryan Long might be gay. I think he might be gay.
I've been saying that for a while.
I think he might be gay. He might be gay, isn't he? Like, do you really think he's straight? Do you really think? I mean, like,
It's not,
like,
not
oh my
exactly
God.
journalistic integrity.
Yeah, Jesus. Like I say, hey Siri, show me a twink, and it brings up like this
Okay,
guy's
but
YouTube page, right? Is he actually? But then you're
Can
like,
I go the other way around,
yeah,
though?
go for it,
Imagine you said that, and you go, oh, Ryan Long might be gay, and then all of a sudden your YouTube channel gets taken down, and your Twitter channel get down. You might start being like,
Yeah, wait.
What the
yeah,
fuck?
What does
Ryan
Ryan
might
have his
be-
tentacles?
Maybe he is. Yeah, true.
you can see why that would make people fucking like break their brain for now. You only talk about that.
Yeah, sometimes the censorship could be a little much, where I think it drives people further down like the rabbit holes, you know? Like for instance, like I've seen like flat earth debates, right? And in the underneath it, like it will say like a little, like on YouTube, it will say like a little disclaimer or something that says, oh, flat earth theory, blah 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 blah. Like it has to give you this little warning there, like not a warning, but just a little thing, like a little statement there from YouTube. And then like a lot of these flat earthers will talk about how they, like they're getting shadow banned or whatnot, which I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it's ridiculous. Like I don't think you should have to do that, because it's just going to make people who believe in flat earth like, oh yeah, look, see, what are they trying to hide? Look, they're trying to censor me. Look at that. What are they trying to hide? Why do they have to always put that, And I agree. Like, listen, let these people go on there and make their arguments, No one has to agree with them. But this over, like, compensation for just like, oh, no, this is, oh, you're denying the moon landing? Oh, well, the moon landing, here are the fact, like, you don't have to add these little things onto your thing, because it's just going to make the conspiracy theory people who don't already trust you. And that's where all this comes from. Moon landing stuff. The flat earth stuff, it all comes from a distrust of the government. That's I've seen a lot of these debates. They always bring up how they don't trust the government at the end of the day. So it always comes from distrust of the government, what they've been taught, the school system, whatnot. And so when you do this type of stuff, it just makes people not believe you further, and it makes people go further down this hole. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Sound off on the comment section below. Subscribe if you like content like this. Let's continue.
And you're like yelling in a well that I'm telling you this guy's gay.
And I understand what you're saying, but like I feel like we make way too many excuses for adults, and at least for political content creators, right? Like I can understand why a person might feel a particular way, but you should know better. Like there are going to be some things that are just such fucking hot topic things. If you don't deal with them carefully, like yeah, you're going to get banned because a lot of people feel ass mad about this thing. It doesn't necessarily mean the thing is true, right? It just means it's like
Definitely there's things where you have to deal with them like crazy carefully. And
or it's like that there'll be like the comedian quote. I don't remember who said this initially, but it's like, or it's not even. I think it's just like an edgy quote. It's like, if you want to find out who rules you in society, find out who you can't make fun of.
Well, they say, yeah, they
and it'll show like a kid in like a wheelchair, and it's like,
so
well,
that's
like, this is my rule because I can't call this guy a cripple. Like fuck me, I guess. Right? Like, come on.
that they attribute to that's like a big
pretty funny.
anti-Semitic thing, and that they attribute to Oscar Wilde.
Oh, do they?
But
Oh,
it's
okay.
not. It's not. Oscar Wilde never said it. It's
I've seen that attributed to Voltaire.
Yeah, sorry, not Oscar Wilde. Voltaire is the one.
okay.
Yeah. But it's but it's not. And like I think I can't remember who it is, but it's just like some guy who said it. It's like some dude. I don't know.
Dude, yeah.
It was nobody of any
most
sort
things
of
are, yeah.
importance, and yeah.
I guess Danny's mom rules me.
I get. I get that a lot. That specific quote.
What do you think
Jew stuff.
Is there a case for that America shouldn't be involved in? Do you think that, like, right now, as we're talking about this, like, there are people everyone online's kind of saying this is World War III, it's going down, kind of thing. Like, do you think that there's a reasonable case to say that like America shouldn't be getting involved in this? Like, why are we spending money? If Israel wants to do that and you want to support, why are we funding this?
I think the issue is that when people analyze the future, they always think of it in terms of like either this could happen or this could happen. And they'll look at something like America could do a thing or we could not do a thing. And they'll look at all the bads and maybe even some of the pros, and then they'll look at us not doing the thing, and they'll be like, oh, okay, we should just not do the thing. And I think what happens is people get confused because they don't realize that the second option that you're evaluating, that's not actually what's going to happen. It's not going to be, should America do the thing or not going to do the thing? The question is, should America do the thing or should Russia do the thing? Should America do the thing or should China do the thing? Because if America steps back, there are going to be other people that are looking to exert their influence. And then your question becomes, who do you want to guarantee safe passage through the Mediterranean? Do you want it to be the United States or do you want it to be Russia and China? Like, who do you want to have that influence?
Couldn't you do this though? Couldn't you say we're not getting involved in neither? Are you guys?
But how?
Yeah, exactly. What's Destiny trying to say here with this? Destiny just saying, yeah, we might as well just go to war, or else China's going to go to war, or Russia's going to go to war, or they're going to do these things, so we might as well just be the ones that do it. Like, what the heck? What is this? So, what take is this from Destiny? So, because didn't he like come down on Trump? Like, doesn't he say like Donald Trump is like pro-war and stuff like that? Like, doesn't he always like rebut? Like, doesn't he always like refute the whole no new wars under Trump? Like, doesn't he always try to like rebut, like how do you say, like refute that? So wait, so this is like this is puzzling. Destiny pro-war, I guess. Destiny's just like, well, if it's not going to be us, it's going to be them, so it might as well just be us. But like these two guys said, I don't know who these are, the hosts of the Boys cast now. Like they said, like, what if they just say, well, we don't do anything and you don't either? And then Destiny's like, well, wait a minute, but how? Like, what? How do we do that? Well, I don't know. Isn't that what Trump did like during his presidency? The FAFO policy, F around and find out policy. And, everyone's got nukes. Remember, they got their nukes on their fingers on the nukes. It kind of keeps everyone else at bay. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? Like, there are ways to where everyone could just keep peace and there's no war. So for Destiny to make this argument of like, well, if it's not us, it's just going to be someone else, so we just might as well. Like, what is this? Oh my God. Pro-war Destiny over here. So ridiculous, this dude. What do you guys think, though? Sound off in the comment section below. If you want to see more of Destiny making an ass out of himself, I got a whole playlist for you on the screen. And I got more goodies for you as well. Click away and enjoy.